certainly, we're ecstatic of the news last night that we were chosen as a host site again. 9 times in the 13 years that our coaches have been here we're really, really proud of that. And that obviously happens with the consistent play on the field, but certainly, our administration here committed to having a top flight facility and making it a great experience for the visiting teams, and our fan base here has a lot to do with that as well. And so we're honored and excited to be hosting again, and looking forward to the 3 visiting teams. Certainly we know a fair amount about William and Mary because we did play them earlier, and we play them every season. Certainly know a lot about East Carolina because we played them every year for the last handful of years. Don't know much about Bryant other than admiring them from afar, and what I mean by that is that they win a lot of games. They've won a lot of games for a handful of years, and I'm very familiar with the success that they've had in their baseball program, and they win a lot. So should be a great weekend. Should be a great weekend of baseball, and we're looking forward to being back here in Charlottesville and having the opportunity to play in front of our fans again. Is that it?
Your reaction to the news that Augie stepped down to Texas?
I don't have a reaction to it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know, what they do. Certainly the guy's the all-time, winningest coach. Certainly has been very, very successful. I don't really have an opinion about it other than that.
The entire ACC tournament made the NCAA tournament, all 10 teams.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mike Martin has said this is the deepest that he can remember in your years in the league. It was maybe the best.
Well, certainly Coach Martin, has been in the league for, 3 times as long as I have. Since I've been coaching in this league, by far, this is as deep and as talented as this league has been. So, I feel like every team that got selected was deserving to be in it for what they did throughout the season, and it's a very, very competitive league, and the competitiveness of this league, I think, prepares the teams in it to have success from here moving forward.
I'm sure every year you make the tournament is special, but the last 2 years, the way you guys have done it, come back from like you have, are those even more special?
I think so. They're all unique in its own, but certainly this year so far has been another memorable one. We got to that point where we're after Boston College, where we lost 2 out of 3 and lost 2 heartbreaking games up there, that our guys understood that something needed to click. We needed to turn the corner, and so certainly they understood that we needed to be a little bit better, and we made a few adjustments with what we were doing, and fortunately it worked. And we're so proud of what we've done up until this point, and nobody can ever take that away. But certainly we're excited about the opportunity we have going on Friday and seeing how long we can take this.
Obviously, the trip out to Lake Elsinore had a happy ending for the team
Yeah.
last year, but logistically, from your standpoint, how much easier is it to be preparing for a regional at home?
Well, having a regional at home, on the road, it's different. There's advantages to playing on the road, and the advantage of that is you pack your bags, they book your flight, and you go, and you don't have to worry about anything else. Here, there's a lot of planning purposes. We got a conference call at 4:00. There'll be meetings. There's tickets that you're dealing with. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made when you're hosting. So that said, I'm so glad we're playing in this stadium. I've always looked at being able to host a regional. Early on in our time here, I felt it was important for us to build momentum in our program, and for our fans to really start to understand what it's like, what postseason baseball is about, and how good the competition is this time of the year, and how difficult it is to get to Omaha. And I just thought it was important for building our fan base. Now I look at it as this is a reward for our fans. Our season ticket sales increase every year. these fans come out and support us in all kinds of weather. And it's great that you have an opportunity to play here again, because it's a little extra treat to them that you don't get a chance to very often in this country. We're spoiled around here that we've gotten a chance to do it quite a bit.
You've had rematches before.
Yeah.
In your regional. I don't know if you've ever had two.
Right.
What do you think about the possibility of ECU here, a team that certainly played you guys really well in February?
Yeah, sure. Well, ECU's got a really good club. We know that. They beat us 2 out of 3 here. They deserve to beat us. They completely outplayed us. They've got a great coach who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, that I know very well. And so they play the game right, and so we'll see what happens. Certainly, they play a great opponent in Bryant as well. But the fact that we've played them every year for a few years now, certainly the teams are familiar with each other.
Down in Durham, a pair of one-run games.
Yeah.
Were you pretty happy with how you played the 1 and 2 kind of side?
I was happy. I mean, I want to win them all, but overall, I was happy with our performance in Durham. You look at it, 2 one-run losses. One against a team that ended up winning the title and be a top 8 national seed. And Wake Forest is a dangerous team in that ballpark. In both of those ball games, we fell behind and fought back, which I think is a great quality to have. We didn't lay down. And we played 3 errorless games. The reality of it is, in 2 of the 3 games, we just didn't get the quality of a start that we need to get in the postseason. Now, hopefully that changes this weekend. If it changes, we'll have a chance to advance on. If it doesn't, we won't. But I was happy with our competitiveness. A lot of people sometimes come into a tournament like that and they say, well, do they even care if they win it? Do some of these teams care if they win it? Or there's 2 meaningless games. I don't think our team played that well that way at all. I think our team played with a lot of fight, a lot of grit, come from behind, chances to win. Those are the things that are going to be important for us moving forward. Absolutely, it will. I mean, we know a little bit about William and Mary. I've played them once, but obviously they're playing great baseball down this stretch. And we need to look at these teams. And you get to this time of the year, most often, you're deciding what you're doing pitching-wise based on matchups, because you're trying to win the whole thing. And so, that's the focus. Is certainly you got to win the first one, okay? And that's what our attention will be. But in a planning standpoint, you plan from a pitching. What do you need to do to put yourselves in a position to be playing next weekend as well?
You talked a little bit about Durham, but Danny's now on the brink of his 3rd straight postseason. He's basically almost played every game for you.
Yeah.
When he got here, you had a shortstop the year before in Brandon Cogswell, but obviously he moved into second base. What was about him in that brief time you saw him when you played him,
Right.
with the Blue Jays, that maybe made you think that this was going to be a mainstay there, and how important was that?
Well, I'll say first and foremost, we fell in love with his defense. We really did, and that was the key for us. We felt like we needed to get somebody else in that recruiting class to come in and potentially play shortstop. Not that we didn't think Brandon Cogswell could do it. We certainly did. But if we got one more that we felt like, well, Cogswell's athletic enough, he's got versatility, and that's going to make us a better ball club. So, first and foremost, we saw his defensive ability at shortstop, and 2, that here's this long, lanky kid that looks like he's got some durability, looks like he loves to play. And 3rd, I'd tell you, I loved him as who he was as a person. I thought he was going to bring an interesting dynamic to our clubhouse, that it wasn't just going to be another guy from Virginia. That's great. I mean, certainly Virginia is important to us, but he was going to bring a dynamic to our clubhouse that I thought could ultimately be really, really productive for us. And Danny's background and the fact being from Canada and the fact that he's part Cuban and part Russian, I thought would really bring something different culturally to our clubhouse, and I think he has.
He's put a certain level of confidence in that
Oh.
position. Certainly doesn't lack for that.
No.
How have you kind of seen him with that? Sometimes a struggle. How does he?
Well, every year that Danny Pinero's been here, he's been his best at the end of the season. And you know what I mean by that is the last 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season. You know, I'm telling you, the 2 times we've been in Omaha, I know there were great shortstops there. There were high draft picks at shortstop that we were playing against, things like that. Danny Pinero, I think, played the best the 2 years we've been in Omaha, the last 2 years, out of any shortstop that's been there. And he was the best shortstop down in Durham, defensively, offensively. And I'll tell you what, I love that about a player that it's on the biggest stage, it's at the most important time, he brings his best game is pretty special. And I think it really has made a difference for us the last couple of years.
Tice has been good, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you at all surprised that he didn't wear down any? Did you?
No, I was a little concerned that maybe Theis might wear down as we went along, just because he's catching every pitch back there. But Matt Theis won't let Matt Theis wear down. He is so strong and so tough mentally. You know, I tell you, I ask him all the time, "Hey, Matt, how you doing?" "I'm great, Coach." I mean, it's the same answer every single time. And so he has just been Mr. Steady the whole year long with his performance, and our team has really fed off that.
Is he a big workout guy, conditioning guy?
I don't. During the season, you know, certainly he lifts weights and things like that, like everybody does, we do as a team. But you know, when you're playing that position every day like he is, there's really not much extra that you want your guys doing because of their legs. So he gets all that he needs with playing. So.
Can you talk a little bit about just what you've built here? How impressive it's been?
Well, it's been very, very special. You know, what we've been fortunate enough to do here. It's been built by a collective effort, really. You know, Carl Kuhn and Kevin McMullen have been unbelievable. You know, and I've said that many, many times, but it's true, and I'm going to continue to say it. It's been a total collective effort by a group of people that have been committed to something and been very consistent to that commitment. And certainly all of our support staff, you know, that has been loyal to this thing too. We don't have, you know, it's amazing. We don't have support staff here coming and going, you know, and usually when you have a program that is successful as ours, you've got assistant coaches, you got support staff coming and going because they're moving on to other opportunities. So I feel very, very good about that. You know, they must be happy in what they're doing. And I think that's a huge key into us having our success. You know, and certainly, you know, the administration and our fan base in this community has been tremendous. I mean, if this community hadn't wrapped their arms around the success of this baseball program, it wouldn't be what it would be. I mean, you know, we're talking about, you know, making an expansion here to the stadium of millions and millions of dollars, you know, and that happens because there's fans that want to sit in those seats, and there's people, influential people in this community that have the resources to really help and that are passionate about what's going on here. So, you know, it's been a dream as a coach, really. You know, I mean, you get into coaching to make impacts on young people and change their lives and give them opportunities to move on to the next level and all that. But also too, you want to build something to be able to have success, because if you build it, you'll be able to continue it over time. And I'm just really, really proud of what's been done here. You know, I mean, you know, Andy told me, you know, since 2009, we've won the second most NCAA tournament games of anybody in the country. I mean, I saw his nice tweet that he put out last night about, you know, the consecutive NCAA tournaments, the regional hosts, the super regionals, the trips to Omaha. You know, when you're in it, when you're in the fight every day and you're trying to, you know, continue to build this thing, a lot of times you don't stop and look at those things, you know, and you see something like that's in 142 characters or whatever it is, you know, you're like, wow, you know, it's been pretty good. But in no way, Jerry, are we done? You know, I mean, this is, we've got a challenge to continue to push forward. You know, we've got half of that locker room is full of guys that this is their first NCAA tournament experience, right? And this is their this is their first time with it. This is their experience, and I'm excited to see those guys go out and compete at 1 o'clock on Friday.
Do you have any funny, humorous stories about the first year you were here and you might have gone recruiting or somewhere in the country and introduced yourself as a Virginia baseball coach and people might not really acknowledge that, or as compared to now, you won a couple World Series?
I don't know that there was. I don't necessarily remember, any individual story. I mean, certainly it's changed. I mean, going to recruit at an event or introducing yourself to a player that you think you might have a chance to get. Their expression's a little bit different today than it once was, I mean, I remember my first recruiting trip like it's yesterday. Was to go down to the Commonwealth Games down in Roanoke at the old Veteran Memorial Stadium down there. And the first player I fell in love with was Brandon Geyer because he hit a ball on top of a house down there, and I was in Brandon Geyer's home as early as I could possibly get into his home. Found out he was a football player, scored 7 touchdowns in a high school football game. I was like, we have to get this guy, and so, it's certainly changed a lot. It has, and it's changed. It's certainly changed for the better. The opportunity that our young people that come into our program have in this program now is different than it once was. And I know one of many people that are very happy about that, and that's Coach Womack. I know he's proud and he's happy that those kids come into this program. They have the opportunity that they have because that guy worked in this uniform for over 20 years, okay, and grinded it out and did a fantastic job. And the baton got passed, and things changed around here, and we're very, very fortunate.